Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank you all for joining me again tonight as we do the next selection from the book Byways of Blessedness by James Allen. We're reading through the fifth chapter called Hidden Sacrifice. This is a very early copy of the book right here. Let's see if we can get that in focus for you. There you go. And it's been a fantastic experience so far. I hope you all have enjoyed it as well. Today's reading will be very short. Also, you can get this copy on Amazon. There's a lot of different copies, but this one is the one I also read out of a little bit to do all my highlighting and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy it today. So go ahead, give us a like, a follow, leave a comment, whatever you'd like to do. We have Facebook, Instagram. There's a TikTok, as well as the YouTube and Spotify channel. So I look forward to seeing you guys follow along, and thank you for all the support with the shorts and the videos. Of course, as always, it's appreciated, and I'm glad this message is getting out there. So what I'd like to do is we're going to go ahead and do the next reading. Now, it's one paragraph. Because after reading the next reading is going to be the final one. And after just kind of going through this and reading it, it's just, the next one's just pretty simple and straightforward. So this will be a short episode today. And then the final one will be a little bit longer with more general information, and it doesn't talk about specific things. But even though this is one paragraph, some of the things it mentions really, really strike a nerve in me, really hit a chord, or whatever that saying is. And you'll know what I mean when I read it. It's just, it talks about some very common, what some might call character defects. So let's go ahead and get to it. This is, again, right towards the end of the fifth chapter, and labeled Hidden Sacrifices by James Allen in the book Byways of Blessedness. So here we go. And let me check here. If you're following along, if you got yourself this copy and you're following along, you would be on page 33, the one that starts with, then there is. Okay? So, then there is the hidden sacrifice of impure desires, of weak self-pity, degrading self-praise, of vanity and pride. For these are the unblessed attitudes of mind, deformities of heart. He who makes them one by one, gradually subduing and overcoming them, will, according to the measure of his success, rise above weakness and suffering and sorrow, and will comprehend and enjoy the perfect and imperishable blessedness. So that's the only paragraph I'm going to read today. So yes, I know it's short, but the rest talks about the chapter in total. This is the last paragraph that actually references specific character behaviors. But though it's only one paragraph, I don't know if you heard them, but there's a lot of bad behaviors in there. There's some of the most practiced selfishness is in this paragraph, and a lot of selfishness that is glorified today is in this one little paragraph. So it proves to be a little bit more than just one paragraph, and it's just interesting to me because it kind of lumps it all in, and it makes me wonder if in the day he wrote it, these were relevant, but not as relevant as they might have been for today, let's say. So let's go ahead and we'll get through it here, or we'll go through it here. So then there's the hidden sacrifice of impure desires, of weak self-pity and degrading self-praise, of vanity and pride. So impure desires. Now, if that's not something that is not just concern today, but is glorified and put at the forefront, right? Like a lot of media today, including movies, including music, popular music, mainstream music, it all has something to do with sexualization and trying to provoke those impure desires. But it's also about gambling. It's also about drinking. It's also about, I'm thinking back to when like the cigarette ads used to try to make you look cool, right? It's like this impure undertone. It's this lack of purity that goes around, and they make it seem attractive. They make it seem desirable almost. When I say they, I mean advertising. I'm saying popular culture. I'm saying society in general, right? So not some vague they, but corporations, companies, they're trying to sell you a product. And these impure desires that he talks about is really a key to getting you to buy them, right? Because if you have these impure desires at your heart, right? If you have a lustful heart or things like that, these impure desires will be easily sold to you, right? If you listen to this music, you'll get this type of attention, or these people will like you if you have this vehicle, or anything of that nature, right? That actually gets boiled down to, at the end of it all, if you're susceptible to that type of marketing, impure desires. Which is kind of a hard thing to digest, hard thing to hear, right? Because we don't want to consider ourselves wrapped up in that, but it is true. And then this next one that he talks about here, impure desires, he then says, of weak self-pity. Now, this self-pity was probably my worst character defect when I went through a 12-step program and I took the 12-step process. Self-pity was one of my favorite things. Now, because self-pity was, first of all, I was consumed with self. It was all about me, and either I was the victim or I was just thought I was a terrible person. Like, oh, wow, I'm just terrible. I better not try to even change, right? Self-pity was something that allowed me to justify all sorts of bad behavior. It allowed me to abandon my responsibility to change, right? It just let me feel like this is the way I am. It let me feel like I didn't have to change anything, like, or I couldn't change anything. Self-pity has this funny way of convincing you that you are exactly where you are. You'll never leave it. So you just better make peace with it and just deal with the situation that you have. And if you're a person like me that has that was in a very bad drug and alcohol addiction, and very nihilistic and hopeless, self-pity mixed in with all of that just continues to move it forward. Self-pity just helps you keep digging that hole deeper, actually, because of self-pity, I never even tried to change things for the better. I just thought I was the victim of the world, right? And because I was the victim of the world, everything, I just was waiting for the world to start treating me nicer, right? I thought I was just unlucky. I thought the world just didn't like me, but no, there were some things I had to change about myself. There was some stuff I had to do, right? Like I was creating my own misery. I was manufacturing my own problems and putting myself in positions to not actually accept help, and not think help was possible. And that just all played into my self-pity. It was born from it and then also fueled it. It's a very, very toxic cycle for those of us who entertain this terrible characteristic. So that's the second one. So impure desires, that's what all of marketing is pretty much on today. Weak self-pity, and it is to categorize it as weak is probably one of the most accurate things. I just don't like it, because no one likes that association to weakness, but it was true. It's very, you lack any backbone. You lack any fortitude at all when you're just wallowing in self-pity. So it is very weak state of mind. And then it goes on to, then he says, and degrading self-praise, right? No one likes the arrogant, the boastful, right? The look at me, look how good I am, look at what I've done, look at all of these things, and I'm just fantastic. No one likes that. No one likes to hear that cockiness, that arrogance. It attracts others just like you when you practice that. It brings other egos into play, and you find that they start becoming in conflict with each other, but they don't want to do anything else but be around each other, right? Because the only people that are going to tolerate you being self-aggrandizing is other people that do it, right? So you find that that's just who you're surrounded by. Everybody does it, right? Everybody as magnificent as I am will do it. That's what you tell yourself, right? So it's such a horrifically toxic way to be thinking about things. And just to be sitting there stroking your own ego repeatedly, right? It's another form of self-centeredness and self-absorption that many people fall victim to, unfortunately. So, impure desires, weak self-pity, degrading self-praise, right? And that's another thing. I like how he labels that degrading as well, because degrading self-praise, because you're trying to... People that practice this are trying to instill a sense of authority in someone else regarding themselves, right? Like, you should listen to me because I'm great. You should respect me because I'm great, right? They're trying to pull something out of people when they do that. They're trying to give a certain image off or perspective off, right? But the reality of it is, anybody that knows anything, when you hear someone doing that, it just destroys any credibility that they have. It just undermines them completely. It has the complete opposite effect of what they were going for. So classifying it as a degrading self-praise is probably the most accurate way to do it. Now, the next two are the big ones that I think the first three really fall into. I do believe that these are the main ones that he's talking about in this paragraph, and it's vanity and pride. Those go together so well when you really think about it, right? Because this impure desires is pride. That's, I want this for myself. It's a sense of selfishness. Weak self-pity is pride in reverse, right? And because you think you're the worst person in the world. You think the world revolves around me, right? Pride is very self-centered, right? I had to change my understanding of what self-centered was as well when I got into recovery, when I started this journey, because people would call me selfish and self-centered. I didn't understand why I was getting that label. And it's because I didn't realize what self-centered really meant. I would say, well, I would think of other people, but I would only think of other people in the context of myself, right? Meaning, this person needs help. I can't help them because of something, right? Or I'm a bad person. I can't help them, right? They don't want my help, or they shouldn't even, or I'll be condemning of them because I want to feel better than them, right? All of my thinking revolved around myself, right? Okay, makes sense. Self-centered. Okay, so I thought of everybody in every situation that I observed in the context of me, right? So self-pity was a lens I looked through that was all in the context of me, but of me being just a terrible person, right? I'm the worst. No one's going to help me. I'm the victim of the world, right? Poor me, poor me, poor me. I can't believe this is happening to me. Here, let me complain to you about my situation in my life, so you think I'm justified in doing what I'm doing. When anybody that has any spiritual awareness or emotional resiliency or stability, we can just go with that, really will look at you and go, no, you're doing it to yourself. Hey, I don't want to hear this. Like you're completely doing this or making this horrible circumstance for yourself, and you're continuing to make it worse. So, and then degrading self-praise, that of course goes right to vanity, right? Like a narcissist falling in love with himself, right? This is self-praise. I'm beautiful. Look at me. I'm awesome. Whatever, for those who know the story better than me. But that vanity, that pride, that we hold on to it so desperately. It's usually the last thing we let go of in drug and alcohol addiction. Well, all of the material things will be gone. All the relationships will be destroyed or corrupted. But we will still hold on to our egos, our pride, our vanity, right? We try to dress ourselves up to make us look as good as we can on the outside, even though we're not fooling anybody. We'll try to hold on to past victories. We'll try to hold on to old things that we accomplished in our life, right? When right now we've lost everything. We have no job. We have no car. We have no support group. We have no money. We are completely destitute. But yet we'll still be holding on to our pride. We'll still be trying to tell ourselves we're better than everyone else. This world isn't ready. Well, this world isn't ready for me. That's what so many say. And when you think about that, right, how damaging is that? How horrible of a character defect is that? This vanity and this pride sums up so many things, and it kills so many people at the end of the day too. It really, really is a corroding characteristic to hold for anybody. And unfortunately, pride is something that we're manifesting in many ways today, and in unhealthy ways, I might add, right? We're trying to define ourselves by all of these labels, and we're taking pride in a label. We're investing in this label like it defines who we are. And I think we got that backwards. If a label fits, we accept it as being relevant to us, but we don't go find a label to define our character for us, right? That's not how this is supposed to go. So, there's hidden sacrifice of impure desires, weak self-pity, degrading self-praise, of vanity and pride. For those are unblessed attitudes of mind, deformities of the heart. Okay, so this is important. He put these two things back to back. Unblessed attitudes of mind. So your incorrect perspective, incorrect thinking, incorrect way to conduct yourself in the world, right? Because the thinking leads to action. But you also say deformities of heart. Now, some might hear this and say those are the same thing, but I do not think they are. Unblessed attitudes of mind is directly related to the thinking, but the deformities of heart mean there's a malformed belief that you hold. There's a worldview within your soul that's a problem, right? This is something you have to really dig into and change, right? Because recovery goes in three ways. Change goes in three stages, really. You stop the behavior so you can see the thinking. Then you change the thinking to see the belief behind it, right? And when you see the belief, then you change the belief. That's where the deformity of heart lies. So there's different stages. There's bad behaviors. There's unblessed attitudes of mind. And then there's deformity of heart. It's a process to change these things. It's a process to sit there and go, where's all this coming from? And as you become more practiced in it, as you've taken these actions, as you've progressed in your recovery or your spiritual journey, or whatever you want to label it, or whatever your path is, right? When you go through this, you start to become quicker at it, and you realize, like, hey, if I'm doing this, there's a lot more to look at, and you get quicker at it. And but in the beginning, it's difficult because you don't kind of understand that it's coming from a place inside of your soul and your spirit that's fueling these things, that's fueling these thoughts, that are manifesting these behaviors, which are then inviting certain individuals into your life, certain circumstances and consequences you keep finding yourself in. They are originating from your heart. They're originating from your spirit and what you're holding on to, what you hold there. So whatever's in here comes to the here, and whatever's in here comes out here through words and actions. So this is really something important to keep in mind is if you're having behaviors you do not like, you're having thoughts before those behaviors occur. And those thoughts are based upon your own belief system and your own forms in your heart, because it uses deformities. I was trying to find the one that go along with it, right? So just keep that in mind. Like, this is, if you want to stop having impure desires, if you want to stop having exhibiting weak self-pity, if you want to stop the degrading self-praise, right? You're going to have to go here eventually. Because just stopping the action isn't enough. Just taking a look at the thoughts isn't enough. You've got to go beyond that so the thoughts originate from a different place. So you're not fighting them all the time, right? Like, it's exhausting trying to fight old actions and old behaviors and old habits, and also trying to fight old thinking all the time. You want to get yourself to a place where you're not having to fight all day, every single day. You want to change what you believe and what you know. And when you do that, you can find peace. And that's what he's talking about right here. So then he goes to say, he who makes them one by one, gradually subduing and overcoming them. Right? So when you start sacrificing these things, again, you're sacrificing these behaviors, which means you're sacrificing the value they have for you, the outcome, the feeling, the reward you get from these behaviors. When you start sacrificing these things one by one, gradually subduing them. And I like how he put the word gradually in there. Because as much as I wish it was true for me that I could just change overnight, that I could just recognize something needed to be different and it just went right along with it, it's not how it goes, unfortunately. It's not how these things turn out. It's usually a gradual change. It's persistent, it's consistent, it's intentional effort placed in these directions, right? And to make these changes, to see these thoughts, to change these beliefs. It is gradually subduing it and overcoming them, right? He puts those, I think James Allen's very intentional about the words he used. So gradually subduing it. So eventually with this effort, you stop the behavior. So you subdued it and then overcoming them, right? So you put the effort in, you do the inventory process, you take a look at these things, right? Well, according to your measure of success. So the more effort you put in, the more success you have at these things of subduing them and overcoming them. Will rise above weakness and suffering and sorrow. That sounds like a great idea, right? Who wouldn't want to do that? Rise above weakness, suffering, and sorrow, right? You can find peace. You can find contentment. You can find strength. You can find strength by going through and sacrificing these things, right? Sacrificing these prideful things, these vain things, and letting them go. Working through them, changing your belief system, you can find strength, peace, happiness, joy, all of these things right here, right now. But it takes just some effort, and it isn't instant. It isn't immediate as much as we would like it to be. But the time between getting the reward and making the effort isn't always quick, and that's why people don't want to do the work. That's why people don't want to take these actions. They'll live with the negative consequences and just have something to complain about and feel that self-pity rather than actually taking some steps in faith and taking these actions. So, and will comprehend, will understand and enjoy, right? So it'll be pleasant experience. You'll enjoy it. The perfect and imperishable blessedness. The perfect and imperishable blessedness. So not only will you know of it, because you can know of something, but not have it, not enjoy it, right? But you will know it, so you'll be aware of it. It won't just be a passing thing that you didn't even notice was happening. You will be aware of it. You will comprehend it and enjoy it. This imperishable blessedness. Now that's an amazing thing, right? You'll get some peace out of this, some strength, some blessedness that will never cease if you can just if you put this effort in to sacrifice these vain and prideful things. But that will include some vulnerability on your part, because it included vulnerability on mine. And I will say that I've come a long way with these things. I will say that I've made great strides when it comes to these defects and when it comes to these character qualities. Though I'm not perfect, I find in different ways relatively regularly how they show up in my life still. But overall, I've had a taste of this perfect and imperishable blessedness. I've experienced it. I've found peace. I've found contentment in my life. I found the ability to be comfortable in my own skin. I found the ability to be just who I am and not feel like I need to be something more or I am something less. Right there, I've worked through and let go of a great amount of guilt, a great amount of shame that I would use to continuously beat myself up of, I would continuously feed into my pride and my vanity, right? And it's, on the other side of it is just something that I didn't even know was possible, this imperishable blessedness. So that's going to be the end of the episode today. Quick one, 27 minutes right now. But I'm not even going to say three, just 5 is what I really listed. The impure desires, weak self-pity, degrading self-praise, but vanity and pride, even though I think they all are incorporated in vanity and pride. But those are huge, huge areas of life today that are extremely relevant, that are some of the most corrupting things we have to deal with in our day and age, in this society and this generation. They have been, those character defects, those corruption of our integrities have been leveraged fully by those who would seek to profit off them. And it's unfortunate. But it gives us the opportunity to grow. It gives us the opportunity to change and work through these things. So there's always a silver lining in that way. But thank you so much for following along with me and enjoying this singular paragraph today, but it had a lot in it. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and until next time, thanks.